What's up? I wanted to do another video. It's been 2 weeks since the last one, and this one, yeah, in regards to what's going on with Robinhood, the markets, stocks, options, things like that. Um, the one thing I really wanted to talk about, so the last video I made, it was a lot of recap, just basically what's gone on over the last 6 months, stuff I've learned, blah, blah, blah. And I also made a couple of predictions in regards to the upcoming earnings reports and some of the plays I was going to make, some of the options I was going to buy. And yeah, I wanted to update on what went wrong. So the crux of it, the main three, it had to do with China, it had to do with e-commerce and electric vehicles and real estate. All three of those things, but really, so the first one was Neo, which we actually ended up buying shares of just because I like the idea of the company. You can go ahead and look it up. They're pretty interesting. They are branding themselves, or as something like Tesla's competitor in China, although their technology is a little bit different. We also played Alibaba, which is the large e-commerce platform, but they do a lot of dealing in construction and home development, stuff like that, parts and components, lots of big things. And then there's also Pinduoduo, which is the latest e-commerce platform, and they're very young, up and coming, but they're looking very promising. And I also like them as an idea. I think they're one of their things is that they're looking to invest or do dealings in products and sustainable renewable energy, bringing this kind of stuff to areas where it otherwise wouldn't be. I mean, China's doing a lot of that kind of stuff, really investing in the electric and the renewable energies and the green energies. And for all the negative you could say about the philosophy behind the government and what they do to their people, which is horrible, and there's the currency manipulation and all that, which Trump talks about, which is kind of, well, it's true, but they are investing, they are taking steps towards green energy that the United States is not doing, and so they could be sitting here pointing fingers at us for a lot of things as well. But we're not here to point fingers. I just want to tell you, with all three of these, I went 0 for 3, so none of them hit. None of them worked. None of them really did what I thought they were going to do, at least in regards to the plays I bought. But I wanted to just make this video just to update, or maybe just to let you guys know, like, none of this is guaranteed. Really, yeah, nothing is guaranteed, especially when it comes to stocks and options, and that's why you have to be very careful. And I had 3 plays. I mean, granted, they all had to do with the same country, but they were 3 plays that I thought were in the sectors that, if anything, if any sector was going to go crazy right now, I thought, why not electric vehicle? Why not, construction and e-commerce, and then renewable technology and e-commerce as well? I just thought it made sense. So that was the basis for it. I had a good, I think, justification behind putting money behind it. But at the end of the day, NIO reported they did beat earnings, and maybe we'll get the chart. They did beat earnings, albeit, I mean, it was a pretty decent beat, honestly, and I was surprised that they didn't get the reaction that I thought they did, and at least going up to maybe around $16, $17. They got a little bit of a bump after the fact, and then, I mean, maybe that was around here. But yeah, they didn't do anything else with it. At least it wasn't enough. I think my contracts were sitting at around $15, $16, maybe with a week or two of time. And yeah, that wasn't going to cut it. And so those didn't do anything, although I did buy one more just to extend my time, just in case, because they did beat. I still like the company moving forward. I still think it looks good. I gave myself an extra week of time just in case, but I'm not holding my breath on that one. Alibaba, like I said, I thought this could be a breakout moment. I thought they were underpriced as it was, although the contracts were kind of hard to get a hold of. They were very expensive, even the ones a week or 2 weeks out, up in like the $290 to $310 range. Still very expensive. You're spending like $100, if not more, for a good contract, and so it was tough to even get close to that. Um, but they've hit a very sturdy ceiling. I mean, you can even see it on this chart here: 260, 264, 266. You know, it's having a tough time breaking out of that 260. I thought this could be the moment, maybe. I had my contract for around 310, I believe, and yeah, it didn't get anywhere close. As you can see, just a little tiny move there and nothing else. And finally, Pinduoduo, another surpriser. This has actually happened on Friday. They beat pretty substantially in earnings per share. This surprised me because they normally, if you see a move like that or a beat like that, that coincides with a stock move in the opposite direction. That's why these things can be very confusing or frustrating for people. That you're thinking, and frustrating for me. They beat, at least on the earnings per share. Why is this not going up? In fact, it went down 13.5%. This doesn't make any sense, but you have to realize that the investors, Wall Street, the people who have the money, they have lots of other metrics in mind. They're looking at a lot of other things. And so the narrative that we're getting is reporting a profit, Pinduoduo reporting a profit, but missing sales forecasts. So just not hitting the sales. And in the e-commerce business, where there's so much competition now, and look no further than Amazon, I mean, these things are going to be very glaring for a company like this. And yeah, so what's the point at the end of the day? I mean, I had the idea, and I put myself out there. I gave myself some exposure. I had earnings as the catalyst, and so there was a lot of justification. But at the end of the day, with any of these plays, what I want to take away from it, I want people to take away from it, is that I didn't in any single one of these plays put too much money that would have over leveraged my account or blown up my account, right? So in the NIO play, let's say I put like $150 total. In the BABA play, I put, again, maybe 150, $200. And in the Pinduoduo play, maybe another $50. So all in, it was between, like, I was able to trim and pull out of certain positions ahead of time so that I was able to mitigate the losses. So at the end of the day, I only ended up taking like $250 of loss, and that's something that I was able to justify since these plays were playing out over the course of 2-3 weeks. Look, I'm putting this money out there. If it hits, great. If it doesn't, we'll still be able to cover ourselves, hopefully, with the rest of the option chain, which you've seen is now comfortably smaller. And then the long term, which I was able to put to reorganize and add some more shares. So before the last or after the last earnings hits, I was able to put another $1,000 into various shares. I bought Neo. I bought a couple more Net, and a couple SC, C, the gaming company out of Singapore. So I was able to, bolster up this account, meanwhile leveraging myself into higher risk, higher reward plays that just happened to not pan out. And it's okay at the end of the day, because everything goes back to, around zero, and I'm still holding up, a relatively high value, in this account, which I've been working for the last 6 months. Still historically down, but we're, climbing up slowly, steadily, and trying to make this thing positive once again, which is exciting. It's been quite the journey. And yeah, so at this point, not a bad thing to see. The option chain about 2 weeks ago was sitting at about 22-23%. Another, good thing to see. I don't think I ever put more than 10 or 12% into it, and a lot of those just ended up hitting, and I was able to take profits off of that. But nothing really caught my eye so much other than those China plays, and I really put my, my last few plays into that. It just didn't work out, and that's fine. And now we're sitting at a nice 98% stocks, which are going to be my safer bet, just as far as the long term goes. And I should say, other than that, I don't have so much leaning forward. I mean, the most prominent play that we have is this Oracle play, which is interesting. Oracle which is a technology, cloud, cybersecurity, CIA arm. I've heard some sketchy stuff about them. Their company, honestly, never heard of before, and I wouldn't be surprised if many of you never heard of them before. But apparently, they have 135,000 employees, which is mind-boggling for a company that I've never heard of before. It's literally like a small city, which is also kind of concerning, and especially considering the fact that they've come up in reports of government ties, and they're involved in like the CIA spying or Homeland Security, and I don't know whatever you think about that. But Oracle is one of the companies that is one of the front runners to buy TikTok. So there's the ultimatum that Trump has put out. He's either going to ban TikTok, or if they allow an American company to purchase TikTok, then obviously TikTok can continue their U.S. operations. If they have tighter oversight from the United States, it makes sense, especially for Trump. That's a very, very Trump kind of move, especially in relation to China. They've had their little spats throughout these last few years, so it's not really a surprise there. But Oracle apparently has never done business in social media and advertising. Like I said, they're more like security and defense and stuff like that. However, and of course, Microsoft is in on the deal as well, and Microsoft sounds like they would be the perfect candidate. They have Xbox. They've dealt with kids before. They know how that whole generation market works. They've dealt with advertising before. They've been around forever. They've seen a lot. They have plenty of cash on hand to be able to purchase TikTok and not take a loss. Oracle, not so much. They've been slower growing than a lot of the other cyber companies. So, however, the other caveat is that they are very closely tied to the government, and that makes sense. And of course, in relation to like the Homeland Security, that makes sense in connection to what they're trying to do with TikTok, and that they're really trying to up the oversight and make sure there's nothing shady going on as far as spying and data stealing and stuff like that. And it's come out that Oracle at least is the front runner in Trump's eyes, or if they don't have a leg up as far as being the right fit, like Microsoft would be a much better fit. Oracle has the backing of Trump, and that says a lot, or that's going to help them a lot, especially in the negotiation process. Again, not gonna put my whole account into this. I bought 2 of these for 36 cents. I have until it's actually I actually like it a lot, just because I have so much time, and it covers earnings, and it covers the amount of time. I think it was like a 45-day window that Trump was giving. Whoopsie, holy shit. 45-day window that Trump was giving China and some American company to make this deal. So that definitely covers that. It covers their upcoming earnings, so in case there's a surprise there. The only thing is that it's for $65, not bad, $10 out. But Oracle is not a company that moves much. They haven't seen that much growth. They've kind of stuck in this price range. Even if you pull it up for the last year, they've not broken out of this 50 range, except when things crashed, and that point they went in the opposite direction. Over the course of 5 years, yeah, a little bit of growth, but again, you're going back to 2016, 4 years ago, and we've only moved $20 since then. 4 years, $20. I mean, that's why you get these contracts for so cheap. The market's not expecting, or if there wasn't a catalyst, if there wasn't an external catalyst, there's almost a 0% chance, or for whatever reason, would Oracle make $10 move over the course of the next 2 months, if it hasn't done that ever in the history of the entire stock. The only thing that's different is now I have this external knowledge. I know that there's something going on in the news. I know their name has been brought up in relation to TikTok, and they have their earnings, which is like a little bonus, although I wouldn't be playing this as an earnings play traditionally, although it does make sense in relation to the COVID stuff. They are in a technology and cloud and internet service kind of a company, and so that makes sense as far as that. So there's some things working for this, and like I said, I have lots of time, so I can just hold this forever. $10 out of the money, not too crazy. And other than that, I don't have any other crazy ideas. A lot of these have just been holding on to for a while. The long term's good. Got some data on stem cell research studies, or FDA meetings, the lot. Basically, Mesoblast company we've been holding for a while got the go ahead for one of their products, Remstel, so that it could be, or they recommended that its use was okay for children, which is a big step. Although nothing official has been approved up until this moment, but it's still good news nonetheless, and the stock reflected that as a result. And that's the most exciting thing going on in the long term. Other than that, let's keep it short. I suppose the most important thing to take away at the end of the day is balance the budget. Something I've been hearing, and I want to give a shout out to the trading fraternity, and you can look that up on YouTube. Basically, where I've been, studying, quote unquote, just like hanging out and listening to a lot of this kind of information for the last 6 months. The trading fraternity, the dude on there, Josh, very, very positive, very insightful guy, knows a lot about this, been doing investing his whole life pretty much, and it's a really nice community to fall into. But he talks about balancing the budget all the time, and it's something I was trying to do with the NIO, BABA, and Pinduoduo play, and it's helped me. That idea, for the most part, I mean, I started implementing that idea here, balance the budget, as in what I was just explaining, having an idea in mind, having a good solid play with a catalyst with that actually has something going on in the world that's going to make that thing happen. But no play is guaranteed. In fact, every play, or your best play, is the one that's not going to work. Your best play is the one that's not going to work. 2 weeks ago, I would have told you NIO is going to hit 100%, right? But I didn't put my whole account into it, because what if it didn't? And it didn't, and that would have been a disaster. So your best play is not going to hit. You remember that. All options go to zero. So put in what you're comfortable with losing and what you're comfortable with the rest of your account counteracting and balancing. On the other hand, your safer investments are going to be there. Your long term is going to be there. Make sure that's all strong. Make sure you have the foundation under you, and then you can take the liberty to start doing the higher risk, higher reward plays, and you will survive at the end of the day. You will hold up. The last 4 months, I haven't moved so much up, but I also haven't gone down below a certain level, which is encouraging. Unless, of course, there's a general crash and all these things start selling off, we'll see that trend as well. But generally, we've trended in the positive direction, especially if you look since I started implementing that strategy. Balance the budget, have a long term, and you should be good. That's the message for today. And yeah, it's okay to make mistakes, I suppose, every now and then. You don't want to always make mistakes. Obviously, I don't want to do this every single week. Hopefully the next time we could be talking about something new, something exciting, some gains out here, But we'll see. Fingers crossed. All right. That'll do it for this one. Hopefully it's not too long. Hopefully I didn't ramble too much. But thank you for watching. Let's get my face. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye. Oh, shit. Oh, shit. Oh, wait.